There are those who make the argument that while Israel may have historical biblical precedent, it is not justification to give it back.
Watch this video of this college student confronting Ben Shapiro at a event, and he basically asks him what makes Israel belong to the Jews. If Arabs were in control of it for a long time, what makes it the Jews? If the Arabs were controlling it for a long period of time in history, shouldn't Israel give it back to the Arabs? And he basically gives a double-sided argument that basically proves instantly that Israel does belong to the Jews. Let's watch the video.
Hi, Ben. While I agree with everything you said today, there are those who make the argument that while Israel may have historical biblical precedent, it is not justification to give it back. For instance, the Muslims control Istanbul, which used to be Constantinople, but the Christians are up in arms about the Hagia Sophia, basically about being defaced by Islam. So what would be your response to that, and how are they not equivalent, and what would you say to somebody who would give that argument?
So the argument about the Jews' historical connection to the land is an argument against another argument. The argument that I'm making is that it is not colonization for Jews to populate an area they've always had a population in. Okay, but if you're asking the more general question, which is what gives you a right to ownership of land, then obviously I'm not sure that historical ownership of land is the rationale, meaning that I don't think anybody in Florida is willing to go back to the original Seminole tribes just to give the entire land of Florida back to those tribes. Right? The history of the world is a history of colonization and a history of population movements. And so the baseline notion that every piece of land must be given back to its quote-unquote original owners, I mean, biblically speaking, you'd have to go back to try to find descendants of the Canaanite tribes, for example, if you were talking about the land of Israel. So the argument that I'm making is more of a responsive argument, which is that when people claim that Israel is a sort of Western interloper in Israel and that it was just placed there arbitrarily, that's a lie. That's the part I'm saying is not true. As far as whether that means that the United States is fundamentally illegitimate because the original inhabitants of the United States were Native American, no, I disagree with that argument as well. I don't think the United States is fundamentally illegitimate just because the United States and its original European colonizers and inhabitants happened to win the colonization wars. I mean, that's what they are, by the way. They're colonization wars because Indian tribes were colonizing each other, Native American tribes were colonizing each other as well. Again, that's the entire story of human history.
Thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to watch more videos like this of debates about Israel-Palestine and the current state of the world, please subscribe below and consider supporting our work by going to buymeacoffee.com/Jewish Uncensored. I'll leave the link in the description as well. We'll see you in the next one.